Hi there, Mark Jabin here, Medical Director for the Haywood County Health Department, and let's talk about this pandemic. Time for the weekly review, and this is being recorded on Friday evening. So in this video, we'll review the numbers from this past week, which show us that Haywood County remains in a good place, but North Carolina is creeping up, and the middle of the U.S. continues to accelerate with increasing cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. As you can see here, it's happening in Europe too. Note the steep rise in new cases there. Here is the daily new cases per 100,000 in the United States. And note the curve. We are well into the next spike, and starting this time from a higher baseline than before. So how much higher do you think it's going to go this time? And also note North Dakota at 97.8. Remember, below 6 is the goal. Below 1 is ideal. And I've also pointed out Tennessee, our neighbor, which is at 32. In this slide, red represents increasing numbers of hospitalizations, ICU admits, and deaths. And look at all the red across most of the country. And I point out North Carolina, which is increasing in all three as well. Looking at our neighbors, everyone higher than ideal. And here is the curve of new cases for North Carolina. Note the similarity to the U.S. curve. I would also point out that the positive test rate in North Carolina continues to creep up, now up to 7.3%. And remember, 5% is the important threshold there. Looking at western North Carolina, you can see continued red to our west. And only one county in the region is at the goal of 6. Here's Haywood County, new cases headed back down after a brief small blip up, and we were pleased to see that. And if we look at the cumulative cases for the entire pandemic for Haywood County, now approaching 700. And also note the COVID number. The number in isolation remains pretty low. And in fact, this correlates with a positive test rate, which has remained around 3.8% now for several weeks. But also note those in quarantine, the number is well up. And as we talked about in this past week's videos, people are allowing themselves to be close contacts, and others who get infected not being careful to protect those around them. So what do we take away from this week's numbers? Well, the pot is heated way up once again. Certainly across the upper Midwest, where it's boiling over like we've not seen since the spike in the summer. And I'm afraid it's going to go higher, it's going to be worse. All because so many people there, for whatever reason, resist doing what we now know works. And we see some of that in western North Carolina now as well. Some counties do continue to hang in there. And for Haywood County, enough of us continue to be careful. And your attention and your efforts are much appreciated. But maybe it's because enough of us continue to be lucky. You see, with the low incidence here, there are just fewer chances to come in contact with someone infected. What many of you are doing is playing the odds, depending on luck and a false sense of safety. But even here, we've seen what happens when that luck runs out. The enchanted salon, the hot tub party, the office. You know, Haywood County has one of the lowest rates of infections in the state, and wouldn't it be great if we kept it there? But it also has one of the highest death rates from COVID, and that's what happens when someone gives it to those most vulnerable. So be well. No reason not to be careful, especially right now.